Hey there, Jason here. Welcome back to Build Stuff with No Code. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about how you can build stuff with no code. So no fancy production today. I'm out in the country at my mom's place making some app updates, and I thought I would do a longer form video to show you how you can use animated spinners in your bubble buttons. So the previous short that I did was how you can just show a loading spinner. So for example, if you've got design language where a user clicks on a button and then it's going to show them a progress or spinner or something like that, you can embed that in the button. And to do that, you would need to use a plugin called Hero Icons, and then you would have to set their specific syntax in the tooltip to be able to do that, because Bubble doesn't give you any animated icons if you use the icon and label option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this to make it a lot easier to maintain. So in the case where, say you wanted to change the text across all of your buttons from loading to saving, you'd have to go into each individual button and change that if you were using this method, because I was basically using just text objects to say when this state is loading, show this syntax, and then I was changing the text and the label and stuff with conditions. This method, you don't have to do that. There are some limitations which I'll show you in a second, but let's take a look at how this works. So I've used crazy button colors on purpose. Notice there's no icon for save. I can control the hover state with that option set as well. Hit save, it's going to show the spinner. Different color, icon is gone. And here's how you build it. So this is a button that just saves one piece of data. Now this is never going to take long enough to show the loading spinner, so I'm going to put a pause in there so you can see this in action. So the first thing to do is to add a custom state. And in the previous video, I had a custom state option just storing the hero icon syntax. So now I'm going to use that option set, and now I've got my different option sets here for the different types of buttons. So there's one for save, one for loading, one for success, and one for failed. And by default, I want to set the default value to saved. And now instead of having to put the label and put all of the other stuff in here, what I can do is I can just reference this button. So make sure you've named your button in a meaningful way, especially if you've got a big page with a lot of buttons on it. It's just a lot easier to find. So what I want to do is I want to set the label to that state, and I want to use the button text. So that's going to control the text that's going to get displayed. Then the background color, I am using a style, but I'm going to use the dynamic value from that same option set. So whatever that button state is, then the background color. And the reason for doing this is because you can dynamically update that with all the different background colors, and you wouldn't have to go into each of these and add a condition and change it to another style. And the last one I need to set is tooltip. This one is important because you have to have a default tooltip set up here, otherwise the spinner will never load. And I'm going to set that to the save, the same button state, and then the hero icon syntax. Now on my site, I don't show any icons for save buttons. I only show an icon when it's loading and when it's finished. So in order to do that, there's kind of a cool little thing here with hero icons. You use this syntax. So HI, hero icon, no dash icon, and it must be exactly like that. That tells the plugin, don't load something here. Reason for doing that is when you change the tooltip to a spinner and then you reset it, if this was blank, then it doesn't actually get rid of the previous icon state. So you have to put in that hero icon, HI, no dash icon. I'm doing this with attributes on the option set, so I'm going to change the text, the background color, and the syntax. You could use this to change any option on a bubble button where you can update attributes with dynamic data. So if you wanted the button to be visible or invisible or not clickable, you would still have to use conditions for it. But I'm not worried about that stuff yet. So I'm just going to set these three things, and then in the actual workflow state, all I need to do is change the option that's being loaded. So when somebody clicks on the button, change it to loading. I'm going to add a pause here so it's magnified and you can see it. And by the way, this is an interesting option. Check this if you don't want that irritating progress bar to load across the top. Then I'll make whatever updates or run whatever workflow I want. Then I'll change it to success, add another pause, and then change it back to the default state, which is save button. Now, depending on what your workflow is, I'm not going to do a check to see if it was saved, but say you were calling something from an external API, then you could set it to success only when the result of that step did not return an error. So when I use this for some of my other workflows, if the workflow fails for whatever reason, I can set a little failed notification and do something else with it. So I've used crazy button colors on purpose. Notice there's no icon for save. I can control the hover state with that option set as well. Hit save, it's going to show the spinner. Different color, icon is gone. Okay, that's it. Drop a comment below if you've got questions about how to use this. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and I'm going to go jump in the leaves.